I had all three go, but I ended up taking the best. And I said, would you take a look at this? It's 2,200 feet long. He said, what do you want me to look at? So I said, have a little swimming pool. Think of it as a swimming pool. I said, oh, how big is it? I said, 2,200 feet by 167 feet wide. He said, that's the biggest swimming pool? He said, I've been doing this for a lot of years, sir. I've never heard of a pool like that. I said, well, you'll see, it's a reflecting pool. And very famous, very big signal, and very important for Washington, D.C., where we, by the way, have almost no crime, I have to say. That's maybe more important than talking about this. We have the crime down from a tremendously high, one of the worst in the country. We have almost no crime. People are walking around, restaurants are opening all over the place is bustling. But that makes this even more important. So instead of being a dirty, disgusting place where garbage was in it and everything else, and I want to give Doug Burgum incredible credit, because he was involved, the Secretary of the Interior. He was involved right from the beginning. I called him, I said, Doug, I'm getting a lot of complaints about the condition of this. What do you think? And he went over, he studied it, and he came back with some ideas. But I said, you know, Doug, I have a guy who's unbelievable at doing swimming pools. Up the road, we have a club, we have an Olympic-sized swimming pool. He did it 20 years ago, and it's perfect to this day. So I asked him, I said, I have an idea. I'm going to send my contractor over and take a look. He looked at it, he called me up, he said, so we can do something on it. He said, it's perfect, actually. He said, it's really decaying and it's a terrible condition. But if you would, I'd like to work 2 weeks on cleaning it up, which is, if you see right here. I'd like to repoint and fix some of the joints. It won't matter because we're putting a substance over the top, but it's nice to have a nice surface. And he said, it'd take me 2 weeks. And if you don't mind, then I'd like to pour the latest and greatest filament or material, which is essentially a pool surface, but it's industrial grade pool. And he said, what color would you like, sir? I said, well, what about turquoise, like in the Bahamas? He said, well, this is Washington, sir. We can give you turquoise, but why don't you try, like, we have a color. It's called American flag blue. I said, that's the color I like. He talked me into it very easily. So he said, that's the color I like. So he came in, and remember, 3.5 years, you have to take all the granite out, then you have to put all brand new granite in. Take years to do it. Over 300 million. Our job will take 1 week and will cost about $1.5 million. And people said, wow. And here's the only difference, because somebody said, well, the difference is, no, the difference is this is much better. This will last 30, 40, 50 years. And if it didn't, you do it again quickly if you want. So it's being done now, and I think I think you'd find it really amazing to go take a look. So here it is. You see the trucks. He's got scrapers and, you know, all sorts of equipment to make the stone as good as possible without removing it. So we're using the existing surface, so we don't have to spend millions of dollars in demolition. And he said, much better to leave the stone than it is what's underneath. They're afraid to look. And so you see it's beautiful, clean, it's ready to be taken care of. Here's a sign that we put. And so Doug Burgum and myself are involved in that. But when you take a look at the surface, we have it in good shape. And they just started today putting down the material. It's a machine. It lays it very evenly, beautiful. It goes from one side to the other. It'll take about 3 days. And you're going to end up with a beautiful, beautiful reflecting pool, the way it's supposed to be. Much better than it ever was, actually. It'll stay clean. We even have robots that go in it, and they ride around the bottom and they clean it like a swimming pool, but these are a much higher level. This is industrial grade, and it's really beautiful. So you're going to have a beautiful pool, and you'll have it for July 4th, long before July 4th. Instead of taking 3.5 years, we're taking a week. And instead of spending $301 million, we're spending less than $2 million. And I think it's a great business story, because there are many things like that that I see. I mean, not maybe to that extent, but there are many things like that I see. I often talk about the pen. This pen's better than the one that they used to give away for $2,000. I won't go on a long story about that because a couple of people said, he kept talking about the pen. No, I gave you the whole history of it. Actually, many people found it interesting, and some people thought I was doing too much of a weave. But actually, it was a good story. But this pen, for $3, $5, $2, whatever the hell it costs, is better than the one for $1,000 to $2,000 that you used to hand away. So that's the short version of it. I like the short version better. But the long version is this one. So this is an amazing thing that's happening, and this is a big, big beautification. In addition to that, the sidewalk areas around it, which were done in granite, similar granite to that, actually not as nice as we have here, to be honest with you, but you know, the people that did it weren't in the world of real estate like I am. But they have good granite, circling it, and we're going to repoint it, meaning we're going to caulk it up and repoint it, make it good. And we're going to also sandblast it. It'll be like brand new. So we're going to have, in another couple of weeks, we're going to have the most beautiful reflecting pool between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial that you've ever seen. And I hope the media can go over and maybe watch them do it because I think it's very exciting. And so a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the time, and you get a better product than you could ever get the other way, and it'll be beautiful. And as he said, it will be American flag blue. Any questions, please?
Yes, sir. Could you talk a little bit about why your Navy secretary was fired yesterday, sir?
He's a wonderful guy. I just put out a statement about him. He's a very good man. I really liked him, but he had some conflict with, not necessarily Pete, with some other, he's a hard charger, and he had some conflicts with some other people, mostly as to building and buying new ships. I'm very aggressive in the new shipbuilding, and somehow he just didn't get along with them. He's an excellent guy. I think he would have gotten along great with me. I didn't really deal with him too much, but he's I consider him to have done a very good job. I put out a nice statement about him. You got to get along, especially in the military. You got to get along, you know. And some people liked him, some people didn't, and that's usually the truth about everything. But I found him to be a very good man, and I liked him a lot.
On the war with Iran, how long are you willing to wait until you get a unified response?
Don't rush me, Jeff. Guys like you want to say, oh, so we were in Vietnam like for 18 years. We were in Iraq for many, many years. We're in for I don't like to say World War II because that was a biggie, but we were 4.5, almost 5 years in World War II. We were in the Korean War for 7 years. I've been doing this for 6 weeks, and their military is totally defeated. They're outside of the little wise guy ships. I call them the wise guy ships, the little boats that they have running around with guns in them. We'll take them out too when we see them. But their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft is gone, all of their anti-aircraft machinery is gone. Maybe they loaded up a little bit during the 2-week hiatus, but we'll knock that out in about 1 day if they did. We've done an amazing job. Their leaders are gone. Their leaders are all gone. Part of the problem is that, that's why I can't really answer your question. They have all new leadership, and they're fighting like cats and dogs for who's going to control